Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. We are talking about a lot of light in tonight's Starborn show because the title of it is The Breaking Point, and that is because tomorrow we are having a full moon at 12 degrees of Libra. Libra is the traditional ruler of the 7th house of peace and partnership and compromise and negotiation and beauty and art, and above all it rules the law and all legal contracts. But that little full moon tomorrow is having a big problem because it's facing some pretty stiff challenges, and that's why there are people that could be reaching a breaking point right now, whether it would be in a business relationship or whether it's in a personal relationship or even a combination of both of those things. There can be a breaking point that is being reached, and it can be due to crossed wires. In other words, if one person is sort of thinking one way and another person is thinking another way, or it could be a company or even a government, and they get their wires crossed, then that can lead to a breakup, a permanent breakup. And so, first of all, we are having a trine, a wonderful trine in the water signs. And in fact, that involves the strongest planet in the heaven right now, which is Jupiter, which is exalted in Cancer. And so that Jupiter in Cancer is trining two other planets in Pisces, Mercury, which is the planet of the mind and communication, and Mars, which is an aggressive planet that can sometimes rule your undoing, particularly since Pisces rules things behind the scenes, such as alcoholism, drug addiction, or sexual promiscuity. Pisces also rules forgiveness, and it rules charity, and it rules sort of being able to rise above your troubles as well, and it rules dreams. And so these three planets are also trining the sign of Scorpio. So if there are crossed wires, or if some breakup does occur, will justice be done? Yes, it certainly will be, because the planets are trining Scorpio, and Scorpio is not only a fixed financial sign, it rules justice and survival. So what could that involve? It could involve the fact that there could be an end now to a very long-running argument that had been going on that involves people's feelings. The water signs rule our feelings. And it could be feelings that involve some sort of a home matter or a family matter or a move of some sort. And so it can signal, since it is a trine in the water signs, that people could sort of, reach a breaking point right now and decide, well, crossed wires aren't getting us anywhere. Why don't we end an argument in one way or another? Would justice be done in that sense? Yes, it would be. And if it ended a long-running argument, don't you think that's worth it, just to get over it? So that would be good. And then there are two planets that are trining each other in the air signs as well. One of them is that full moon in Libra at 12 degrees tomorrow, and it is being trined by Pluto in Aquarius at 5 degrees right now. And together, they are both trining the third air sign, which is Gemini. There's nothing in Gemini, but that is a favorable trine. And so it can be that there can be some sort of a crossed wires, once again, that involve a partnership issue, because that's what Libra rules. And it can be that people will want to resolve some sort of pending partnership. And what they would have to resolve is the way people are thinking about that. Some people could be thinking that, oh, gee, this partnership is just going to go on and on and on. And somebody else could be thinking to themselves, oh, I don't think so. And so their wires could be crossed, and that could lead to a breaking point because they're not both aiming for the same thing. And so, maybe they could talk it over. Maybe that could be resolved that way. Because there are other things that are causing problems right now that really can lead to a breaking point. And that is because there are 5 planets. That's half of all the planets in the heavens, in the cardinal signs, which are in a harsh T-cross, challenging each other. Well, Libra is a cardinal sign, And so that wonderful full moon in Libra tomorrow is really being challenged, and that's why there is a breakup coming. And that is because that wonderful full moon in Libra is being challenged by a lot of planets in Aries. In fact, the Sun is there, and Saturn is there, which is a malefic planet ruling obstructions and delays, and Neptune is there, which can rule kidding yourself, or in the sign of Aries, which rules new beginnings. It can be that some people are kidding themselves about a new start. And then Venus, Libra's own ruler, is in Aries, and it is opposing the sign it rules. That's not too good for partnership. And all of these planets are being squared by the best planet in the heavens, Jupiter in Cancer, which is squaring all the planets in Aries, and it is also squaring that full moon in Libra tomorrow. And together, all of these planets are squaring or opposing the sign of Capricorn, which is the fourth cardinal sign. So what does that mean? It means that some people could have been realizing that they had made false starts in a relationship. Remember, it could be due to crossed wires. It could be a relationship that's a personal one or a business one, since the sign of Capricorn is involved, and Capricorn rules your 10th house of career, and it rules big governments and corporations and institutions, and it rules your retirement. So there can be some people that are reaching a breaking point right now in a pending partnership. In other words, something that they thought was going to work, but turns out to be a false start. And either one or both of them realize that it's a false start. And one of the reasons that it could be a false start is because one or the other of them had very high ambitions. You know, the kind of ambitions that think that, well, if I just hook up with somebody else, I'll reach the top or I'll get promoted. And you know, it's not going to happen. That's where the breaking point could occur, because they lack the experience and the preparation and the necessary know-how already to reach a really high position. And for that reason, it will be denied. And that is why that pending partnership is no longer pending. It can reach a breaking point. But it's because somebody was kidding themselves about their qualifications for a higher position, that, you know, maybe they were able to hook up with somebody else and make some sort of a start. But you generally, if you're going to get promoted and rise to the top, you already have a lot of experience that proves you're worth it. And somebody didn't. They were sort of kidding themselves, and that's why there was a false start and a breakup of a pending partnership. But then there are another 3 planets that are in the fixed signs. You know, fixed signs don't budge. And they are squaring each other. And that is because Pluto is in Aquarius right now, and that rules upper management that's got their eyes on the future, because Aquarius rules the future. And that Pluto at 5 degrees of Aquarius is harshly and closely squaring Venus in Taurus at 3 degrees, and Uranus, another malefic planet, at the 29th degree of fate in Taurus as well, meaning something is on or over, and it's bound to be something financial, since Taurus is a fixed financial sign. But these 3 planets are also squaring and opposing the other 2 fixed signs of Leo and of Scorpio. And so what this means is that there's really a breaking point now that is being reached in a financial matter. And the reason why is, once again, due to these crossed wires. And that is because when Venus, which is at 3 degrees of Taurus, is squared by Pluto or Saturn, and Pluto is at 5 degrees of Aquarius, it simply is an indication of a betrayal. And so somewhere around in a financial matter, there is a betrayal. That certainly represents a breaking point. And the betrayal could represent a loss of funding. You know, in other words, if somebody is thinking about zooming ahead in the future and they run out of money, then their future plans could be put on hold, or their plans could reach a breaking point. So there could be a loss of funding there. And that is due to a betrayal. And maybe the people that were putting money into something do not see a good reason for that. Maybe that represents a false start too, or maybe they just have high bills or budgets that need a little more attention, and so they pull back, and that represents a loss of funding. So there's all kinds of reasons why you could reach a breaking point right now. If it isn't you, it could be your employer, it could be somebody you know, it could be your neighbor. The good thing about all of this, though, as a breaking point is reached right now, and there are some false starts, people are realizing they've made false starts. There's way too many planets in Aries, and they may want to start over in a new way, and financially they might have to do that. And so the breaking points, or the crossed wires that are causing breaking points in many different ways, whether it's in a romantic relationship, whether it's in a personal relationship, whether it's in a business relationship, it simply means that whatever breaking point is reached, it will turn out for the best. It will turn out for the best. And why is that? Because the strongest planet in the heavens is that Jupiter in Cancer. And Cancer rules endings. And if you can get over a long strung out argument and sort of resolve it, well, then that's the best. That could represent the best for everybody. Or if you realize you've made a false start and it can't go on, or you realize somebody's not qualified for a promotion, or you just run out of money in one way or another, that can be for the best. It's better than kidding yourself. And it allows you to make a new start in a different direction. And that could work out a lot better for you. So a breakup is going to work out. It's just that this is when it's going to happen. And that's because that poor little full moon in Libra tomorrow, which does rule partnership and legal contracts, is so sorely challenged by so many other planets. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, I think you're certainly going to get a chance to make a new beginning, Aries. It might be for a reason that disappoints you a little bit. First of all, there are no other planets in the fire signs. There's nothing in Leo, and there's nothing in Sagittarius. And so you're sort of on your own right now, Aries. You do have a lot of planets in your sun sign, and one of them is Venus, but it's getting ready to leave. It is opposing the full moon in Libra tomorrow. All the planets in your sign are opposing the sign of Libra, which does rule partnership. And so it's the sun in your sign, along with Saturn, a malefic planet, and Neptune, which means you could have been kidding yourself about a new start, Aries, and Venus, and they're all opposing that full moon. When the sun and the moon square or oppose each other, it is an indication of indecision or confusion. So at the very best, you could be confused or undecided about something, but because your sign has no backup, there's nothing in the other fire signs, I would say, Aries, that you're really on your own, and that a breakup is coming, or else it's already occurred. It could be because you've been kidding yourself about some new start that you wanted to make that doesn't have the support that it needs to get ahead right now. So you might have been kidding yourself about that. Or it could simply be that there are some things that just have to end. And now's a good time. Remember, even an ending is going to work out for the best because it will allow people to go on to newer things. Well, that can be really advantageous for you, Aries, because the next new moon is in your sign. And it's coming up. And there are going to be 6 planets in your sign under that new moon. That is like a golden opportunity for you, Aries, to make a new start in another direction. So there's nothing wrong with reaching a breaking point now. It's going to allow you to go forward in a way that is good because something had been holding you back. Either you'd been holding yourself back by kidding yourself, or somebody else had realized they'd made a false start, and it's time to end it. But that ending is going to sort of set you free for a new beginning under the new moon that's coming up. So my advice to you, Aries, is don't look back. Look forward. You've got a lot more things to look forward to than you think. So keep going. All right, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, there's a betrayal around somewhere in your life, Taurus. You need to hang on to your money right now. This would not be money that you want to make. This is money that you already have. It could also be possessions that you have. And the two fixed financial signs, your sign and Scorpio, are both very possessive. They like to hang on to what's theirs. And this is a very important time for you to do that, Taurus, because Pluto in Aquarius is squaring Venus in your sign almost exactly. Pluto is at 5 degrees and Venus is at 3 degrees in your sign. And unfortunately, you have the malefic planet Uranus at the 29th degree of fate in your sign, which is on a blind star, meaning that you have had sort of dollar signs in your eyes about something that you thought was really going to work out. And I would say not only is it not going to work out, but there's going to be a betrayal around. Somebody else thinks it's not going to work out either, and so you could be short of funding, particularly for some future project, or it can be that the value of your investments are falling, and that could be not only property values, but it could be your own investments in other monetary things. And so this is a time for you to sort of pull back. If you can, Taurus, there are no other planets in the earth signs. There's nothing supporting your sign. And so you could be facing a breakup that is actually going to be for the best for you, Taurus. And you could be saying, well, I don't think so, particularly if I'm going to be losing some money or I'm going to be losing some property. All you're really losing, Taurus, is the future that you had planned for yourself. It doesn't mean that there aren't a whole lot of other opportunities out in the future. It's just that you'll have to be a little bit more careful about how you handle your money, and I would definitely pull back. And if you have any outstanding bills, you need to pay them off quickly, because your sign opposes Scorpio, and Scorpio rules credit, debt, loans, and taxes, a whole lot of things that cost money as well. And so that's why you need to shrink your budget right now, Taurus, if you can. And it's not all up to you. There will be a betrayal around somewhere. If somebody had offered to back your future plan with their investment, I would say that would constitute a betrayal if they changed their minds, or if they had crossed wires with you because you were thinking the money was going to come under certain terms and they had other terms that they were thinking of. That could mean that there would be a financial matter that's reaching a breaking point too. Or if there was a pending partnership, it's not going to fly right now, Taurus. And so believe me, if you can just sort of pull in your belt right now and readjust your own finances, that is the best you could do right now. And that could save you from any further lack of funding or any further financial losses. So you really need to pay attention to your bottom line right now, Taurus. And it's just, don't think about a partner, Taurus. Just think about yourself and your own money. And try to stabilize your financial position right now. It will require reaching a breaking point and pulling back. But that's, if that's what you have to do, then fine. Give it a try. All right, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, there aren't any planets in your sign, Gemini, but that full moon tomorrow in Libra does trine your sun. So does Pluto in Aquarius. So there are two strong planets trining your sun, Gemini. And that means that there is the possibility of some sort of partnership in the future, or there could be the possibility of a future project of yours that can be very harmonious to other people. Maybe you have a proposal in the future that you could present to somebody that's pretty high up, and maybe in the future they would take a look at that and that might work out. And so I would say, concentrate on your future right now, Gemini. But there are things that you have to watch out for too. And one of them is that Mercury, your own ruler, and Mars are in Pisces, and they are squaring your sun. So behind the scenes, there are some people that do not have your best interest in mind. And if you are feeling that you're being tricked in any way, or you're being led down the garden path, or you're thinking one way, but due to crossed wires, somebody is thinking in a little different way than you are. If I were you, Gemini, I wouldn't advance quickly right now, but if I were you, I'd check all your facts over and over again. And that means whatever somebody is telling you, or even if you can find out what other people are saying behind the scenes about you, that would be a good idea. So this is not actually a time when it's exactly right for you to jump into anything. You could present a good idea to a future partner that would probably work out pretty well right now because the moon and Pluto are trining your sun. But you could also perhaps try to keep your defenses up a little bit right now, Gemini, because there could be other people that are sort of wanting to knife you in the back, and it could be because they are jealous or vindictive or envious of you in one way or another. And so you need to be a little bit careful about who you talk to. And no matter what anybody is saying to you or what you find out behind the scenes, I would check it out more thoroughly because somebody's around that doesn't have your best interest at heart, Gemini. And so I'd be a little bit cautious right now. Just try to be cautious. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, once again, you do have the strongest planet in the heavens in your sign, Cancer. It's the exalted Jupiter in your sign. And it is trining that Mercury and Mars in Pisces. And together, the three of them are trining the sign of Scorpio. So even if you are in something, in a relationship, either a personal relationship or a business relationship, or past even a family relationship that has been undergoing some long-running argument that never really quite gets solved, this is a time for you to end it, Cancer. And you could end it in a just and fair way because Jupiter in your sign is trining Scorpio, and so are the planets in Pisces. Your sign has backup right now. And so it is better to end a long-running argument right now and get it off your back, Cancer. And the reason why is that while Jupiter is still in your sign until this summer, it would free you up to go forward. This argument could involve a move. It's you that should be making a move, Cancer. And it's somebody else that should, whatever you have to say to end an argument right now would be worth it because it gets the monkey off your back. It gets the argument over, and it allows you to go forward and do your best. It could allow you to make a move. It could allow somebody else to make a move instead. Maybe that's the way to end the argument. Or it can just be that it allows you to end things that had been hanging on to you more than you had been hanging on to them. Okay? In other words, sometimes weak people will want to bring up more and more points and blame you for something because they're too weak to make it on their own, so they're going to try to put you down instead. That could have been happening to you, Cancer, because Cancers have very tender feelings. And they're really conscious of people who are around them that are showing animosity in any way. And that's what you need to get away from, Cancer. And if you have to end a long-running argument that involves a family matter or a move or something like that, then end it. And if you have to end it in a just and fair way, that is what you should do. Remember, in the argument, you're the one that is going to come out the best if you end it. If you stay in an argument, it's just holding you back. And that's exactly what somebody else wants. So don't fall for it, Cancer. They could be blaming you for stuff forever, or they could be coming up with excuses forever to keep the argument ongoing because they just can't make up their mind or they don't have the talent to do something on their own, so they're going to keep going and trying to drag you down. And Cancer's feelings can get hurt very easily. And so get over that, Cancer. You've got Jupiter in your sign. It's got backup from the planets in Pisces. Why don't you just decide to end something and realize that you need to just go forward and say, this is it, and this is the breaking point. I've had it, and then end something because that's what your sign rules, and then you can go forward and still enjoy the beneficial aspects of Jupiter in your sign until this summer, and allow you to make a move or allow you to be much happier. And that way you can get rid of whoever's actually hanging on to you. You're not hanging on to them, Cancer. And so do your best right now, but do it for yourself and do it for your future. And say goodbye to whoever's whoever is so weak that they can't stand on their own, so they want to drag you down instead. That's not a friend, Cancer. That's an enemy. And you can say goodbye to them. That's okay. All right, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time, Leo, when you need to be a little bit careful in one way, because there are some good aspects to your sun sign. The Libra full moon tomorrow is actually sextiling your sun sign, so there could be some opportunity for a new partnership or resolving a legal contract, or maybe even signing a legal contract. And then all 4 planets in Aries are trining your sun. As I said, there's nothing in your sun sign, but gee, you have the sun, your own ruler, and Venus, and Neptune, and Saturn all in Aries trining your sun, Leo. If ever you should try to endure some sort of a breakup right now that would allow you to make a new start, you should do it. You should agree to that. You should have done it yesterday, Leo, or way back. And the reason why is that, Leo, if you could just stop thinking about how you have to be the head of everything, or you have to be the boss, and instead you think a little bit more along partnership lines. Remember, Libra rules partnership, and the full moon is going to be sextiling your sun. So you might be looking around for other people that you can work with. And that would be a good idea, because you yourself may have realized by now that there was a false start made somewhere. And, you got to get over that first, because the planets in Aries do represent a new start, but they also represent false starts, particularly since they all oppose the Libra new moon, full moon tomorrow. And so Saturn is a planet of obstruction and delay. Neptune allows you to kid yourself. And Venus is about to leave Aries pretty soon. Even the Sun's going to leave Aries. Not right now, but it will. There's going to be a glamorous, gorgeous, electric new moon in Aries that will trine your sun. That is coming up in 2 weeks. And you need to be ready to roll, Leo, in a new direction. And how are you going to be able to do that quickly if you're still hanging on to yesterday, or you're hanging on to somebody else that they represent your past? They really don't represent your future. So why are you involved with them, Leo? You're going to be able to look at a great future. It won't happen right away. Well, you'll see it under the new moon in Aries that's coming up, because all 6 planets in Aries are going to be trining your sun. But actually, Jupiter is coming into your sun sign at the end of June, and that, in combination with some of the planets in Aries, is what can really sort of give you a boost to the moon, Leo, and you're not ready for that. I mean, take a look at where you are right now. Pluto in Aquarius is opposing your sun sign, which means that people that have their eyes on the future, that are in upper management, are going to go forward, and they're not going to stop to take you with them, Leo. This is an opposition. And then, the reason why I think you have financial problems that you've got to clear up quickly is because Venus is in Taurus, and Uranus, another malefic planet, is there at the 29th degree of fate, and they're both squaring your sun. Somewhere in your life, Leo, you got the money wrong. You've got the money on the wrong nose, or on the wrong horse, or maybe you've spent, your sign rules extravagance, maybe you've spent too much money, and now you've got bills or debts, or high taxes, or extra costs for things, and you really need to cut back now. If you need to reach a breaking point where you have a little habit that's costing you too much money, stop. Don't do that anymore. Because nothing that you're doing right now, Leo, if you continue to do it in a harmful way, or in an expensive way, or in a costly way, it'll just drag you down. And nothing is worth that right now. Because in 2 weeks there's going to be a great new moon in Aries that's going to trine your sun, and by the end of June, Jupiter will be in your sun sign. Nothing is worth risking the bright future you have in front of you, Leo. So don't hang on to the past. It's the future that, you can't have one foot in yesterday and another foot in tomorrow. that just splits you up so much that you are nowhere. And that is not what you can afford. You have enough money troubles that you can't afford right now. You've got to clear that up. There could be even a betrayal. And it could be because everybody has money problems. It's not just you, Leo, but it could really affect you. And so you're going to have to live on a smaller budget, Leo. But you know, anything that you do that can get rid of the past and can stabilize your finances in preparation for what's coming your way, Leo, you know, this is not the time for you to hang on to anything. Not even to quarrel about anything. Don't fight. Don't fight anybody right now. You've got to be in better shape for the new things that are headed your way. But if you decide not to listen to that, and if you decide, well, you're going to do everything your own way, just the way you always have in the past, then that's where you're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck in the past. And there's no money in that, Leo. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Prepare for a better future, and that means cut the ties to the past. If you don't, you're going to get stuck there, and everyone else will pass you by, and you wouldn't like that. So think about it. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, there are more planets in Earth signs now, and that is because Uranus has been the only planet for a while in Taurus that has been trining your sun, and it's a malefic planet at the 29th degree of fate in the fixed financial sign, simply meaning that there are some investments of yours, Virgo, that need to be rearranged somehow, and it could be that they're costing you too much. Even though you could really think that they were a good deal, maybe they would have been a good deal when you bought them, but times change. And maybe they're not so good now, and because of higher costs. So you need to look at that a little bit more carefully. But Venus is also in Taurus, and it is trining your sun, Virgo. And that simply means that although the planets in Taurus are subject to a betrayal because Pluto is squaring Venus in Taurus, and that could affect a lot of people, and particularly financial investments anywhere in the world. But these two planets are trining your sun, Virgo, and that simply means that if you did realign your investments with Venus in Taurus trining your sun, if you were thinking that something was costing you too much right now, this would be an excellent time to sell it, and probably to get a pretty good price for it. Now that will not continue, but that is what you could get now. So Taurus, if you're a person that's thinking that you've got to own, you know, your own home and a summer home and a winter home and a mountain cabin, you know, you've got real estate everywhere, dump some of those. Because if you add up the cost of all of them, Taurus, and the value of your investment shrink, what are you going to pay all those high costs with? You really do need to simplify your financial responsibilities right now and sell something while Venus is still in Taurus trining your sun. It's under duress, but it still is trining your sun. And you probably could get your price if you sold something pretty quickly. Or if you have financial obligations and they're getting a little too heavy for you, Taurus, you've got to try to find a way to get out from under, even if you have to make a sacrifice sale of some sort. It's better than being on the hook for a whole lot of things where the costs are going up but the income's going down. That's not good. So it's either your personal income or it could be your investment income. So you need to be real careful with your money right now, Virgo. And I think that you can succeed at that. But if you sort of sold some obligations that you have right now and didn't kid yourself about thinking that they're always going to go up, but try to sell them at the highest price you can get right now, you might get that price. But once Venus leaves Taurus, you won't. That's why it's pretty important to think about how you're handling your money right now, Virgo, and good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, the full moon tomorrow is in your sign at 12 degrees. That means it's going to be there for another couple of days. And it is being sorely opposed by 4 planets in Aries And it's your own ruler, Venus, that's opposing your sun sign, Libra. That's too bad. That means that there is a breaking point that is going to be reached in your life, Libra. And I think it's somebody else that might have been thinking about a pending partnership, but they may have realized that they've made a false start, and they're going to go on their way. And so you could say, well, gee, that could leave me high and dry. Well, no. No matter who is reaching a breaking point right now, Libra, including you, it is going to be for the best. And that is, it will involve endings. Because Jupiter in Cancer, which is the best planet in the heavens and is exalted, is squaring your sun as well. There's just too many planets that are in harsh aspect to your sun sign, Libra. There is one planet that is trining your sun sign, though. It's Pluto in Aquarius. That means that should you sort of, should you quit kidding yourself either about a false start that you've made or a partnership that you were dreaming about that you thought was pending and was going to happen, or some sort of argument, long-standing argument that had been going on among family members, or about a real estate thing, if you could somehow resolve all those things and sort of work them out in a peaceful way so that you could get over those, then your future would be looking brighter. But there are more things coming against you, Libra, right now than for you. It isn't that there isn't something for you, though. Pluto represents people in upper management that are going into the future, and they like you. It's just that you've got too many other competing things that are somewhat holding you down, or else you've been kidding yourself about them. All the planets in Aries oppose your sun sign. And Saturn and Neptune in Aries are no good. Saturn rules obstructions and delays and old things, and Neptune rules kidding yourself about things or deceptions and omissions. And not every partner of yours is being completely honest with you, Libra. There's too many people that could have been kidding you, or they've just been painting blue sky, and perhaps not telling you the whole truth about something. And the moon is in your sign. The light will be on you, Libra. And if I were you right now, I wouldn't hang around with the crowd from yesterday. If you have a lot of light on you for the next couple of days, which you will because the moon will be in your sign, why don't you try to sort of look your best and go out and meet people that you think you have a future with? It might be a good time for you to sort of show yourself off to the right people, Libra. Make an appointment to go see somebody. At the very least, since your sign does rule beauty, you might want to try a new beauty regimen, or you might want to spruce yourself up a little bit, and then go out and meet people that would be better for your future. Because you could do that with Pluto trining your sun. But otherwise, you're going to run into people with crossed wires that they're thinking their way, and they're not in a partnership mood. And even if you were, they're not. Aries has always got to be first. It rules the first house of self. And your sign rules partnership. So you might be looking for partners. Why don't you look for them in the future, Libra, and sort of spruce yourself up so that you can be at your best? Because this breaking point that is going to occur somewhere in all of our lives in the next week has been perhaps a long time coming, but it is going to be for the best, including for you. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, you have some powerful planets that are coming up against you right now. And that is because Pluto, your own ruler, is in Aquarius, ruling people in upper management that have their eyes on the future, but they probably don't have enough money to make everything work. And yours is a fixed financial sign, Scorpio, so they could be coming to you with all kinds of enticing proposals about why you should invest in their new ideas. This is probably not the time to do that, though, Scorpio, and that is because you could have financial problems, because Venus is in Taurus, the other fixed financial sign, along with Uranus, a malefic planet at the 29th degree of fate, and they are both opposing your sun sign. And that means that somebody else wants a lot more money right now. Well, why should you give it to them, Scorpio? They could be wanting a lot more money simply because they think they deserve it, Or they could have career ambitions and you know, they could want to be promoted and have a bigger salary for that reason. Or they could want you to buy something pretty expensive for them. And I would say, Scorpio, you know, back off. You don't need to do that right now. Keep your hands in your pockets. And the reason why is that your own investments could be losing you some money right now. And that could involve high-priced real estate, which is what Taurus rules, but it also rules all kinds of investments. And so, you know, with this hard opposition from Taurus to your sun sign, you need to reach a breaking point, Scorpio. You can't afford everything. You just can't anymore. Nobody can. Because values are decreasing while costs are going up. That is not a recipe for success. And so you need to be much more careful with your money. And you too need to end something. But you're going to get a lot of help with that. And I think that you're ready for that, Scorpio. Because Jupiter, the strongest planet in the heavens, is in Cancer, which rules endings and the last half of life. And it is trining your sun. And it will be until the end of June. And this is a time when you could make a very good move. This is also a time when you could end a long-running argument that is perpetuated by somebody that wants to hold you back or keep you down. And you know, you need to get them off your back, Scorpio. And yours is a fixed sign. But what if they were a fixed sign? Then that would just be why the argument is perpetuated. You know, it's never going to get over, Scorpio, until you end it, one way or another. It's not up to them to end it because they don't want to end it. They want to sort of hold you back. It makes them feel superior. Well, you know, you got to stop that, Scorpio. And you got to just say goodbye and really mean it. And if you have to end some long-running argument, you're a pretty smart person. You're very good at managing money. You would know how to do that. You just have to understand that the reason the argument's been going on so long is not because of you. It's because somebody wants to keep you down. And they're not going to succeed. But it's because they lack either the experience or the knowledge or the brains to make it on their own. And so they can appear to be superior to you by trying to hold you down or criticize you or hold you back or keep coming back to you for more money. What's the point of that? That is a good way to make you go broke, but that would make them happy. That's why you need to end it. And if there's a long-running argument that has to do with home or family matters or real estate matters, all you have to do is say goodbye and end it in one way or another. And believe me, that is going to be the key to your freedom for the rest of your life, Scorpio. You really need to say goodbye to the past. And it's the past that's holding you back. And they want to keep doing that. And that is not the way you should be going. You need to go into the future. Everybody does. Your ruler, Pluto, is going to be in Aquarius, the sign of the future. Yes, it's going to be squaring your sun, but it's going to be in the sign of the future for the next 15 to 17 years. And yes, it will be challenging you, but wouldn't you rather be challenged by the future than by the past? Because you've already lived in the past. That's boring. And also, there's nothing new there. So even if Pluto is squaring your sun, that's a whole lot better than people that are trying to hang on to you from the past because they don't have enough talent to make it on their own. You really don't need those people in your life, Scorpio. Jupiter in Cancer is trining your sun, and that's the best planet in the heavens, so you could end something right now. And I think that you already know you've reached a breaking point. That in your heart, you know it. Scorpio rules justice and survival. In the end, a Scorpio is always going to survive. And you probably can see why you have to end something in order to survive it. And you can do it. Because Jupiter is trining your sun clear till the end of June. So go ahead and finish up some long-running argument. Make a move if you want to. You could do that. And you can stabilize your own finances right now as well. Something that's been tormenting you, a person that's been tormenting you, are always coming back for one more hit. They're trying to defeat you, Scorpio, but your sign rules survival. That's not going to happen. But why are you letting it continue? It's up to you to end it. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius. This is a time, Sagittarius, when there are not a lot of planets in the mutable signs. However, there are 2 of them that could be causing you a little problem, and it is that their Mercury is in Pisces, and so is Mars. There are no retrograde planets now. They're direct, and they are squaring your sun sign. So there's something or somebody behind the scenes that's not telling you the whole truth about something, Sagittarius. And it would be a good idea if you dug through their little stories a little bit more and did some fact-checking. And the reason why you could do that is because it's you, Sagittarius, that needs to make a new beginning, and you really need to get ready for that, because there's already 4 planets in Aries trining your sun, and it is Venus, the Sun, Neptune, and Saturn. They're already trining your sun. In 2 weeks, when there's a new moon in Aries, there will be 6 planets in Aries trining your sun, Sagittarius. You've got to be on to something new, Sagittarius. That's the way the world's going to work. The sun is going to rise in your life. A new day will dawn. But you've got to get over these people that are, you know, they're leading you down the garden path. They're not telling you the whole truth about something. Mars, particularly in Pisces, could rule people that are trying to get you to do things that are bad for you. Well, don't fall for it, Sagittarius. And also, they can just outright be lying to you. And it could be out of jealousy or envy or greed. Maybe they're trying to get money out of you. And you've just got to, you know, cut the cord, Sagittarius, after you find out what the real story is behind the scenes. And that will prepare you for a new start. You are very well aspected to make a new start. And Jupiter is coming into Leo at the end of June, and it will be trining your sun too. And since Sagittarians love to travel, you probably are already making travel plans, or you're probably already thinking of something new that you have been wanting to do for a long time. Well, it looks like your time is coming up, but will you be ready, Sagittarius, when it does? Well, you just can't float along in life. You do have to sort of investigate things. And if there's anything around that seems a little shady, I would say it's a lot more than a little shady. It is really shady, and you have got to clear that up now so that you can be free of it when you make your new start this year. So good luck, Sagittarius. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time, Capricorn, when you two sort of, just like Gemini, you sort of need to keep your guard up right now. And the reason why is that there's a lot of planets in the Cardinal Signs, and they all oppose and square your sun sign, Capricorn. And that's because the full moon in Libra tomorrow is squaring your sun sign, meaning something is probably a little bit iffy about a partnership or a business matter or some sort of a legal contract. Maybe you should check that out a little bit more, or review it a little bit more. And then Jupiter in Cancer is opposing your sun sign. It's been doing that for months. It's going to continue to do that until the end of the summer. And so you have to be a little bit careful not to, you know, there could be a lot of home or family issues going on. And if any of them involve wanting to get their hands on your money, Capricorn, I would really think twice about that and then still not agree. And the reason why is that as long as you're a soft touch, they'll keep coming back to you forever. And maybe you just need to say, hey, you know, you don't need to say, hey, you've got Jupiter in Cancer, go solve your own problems. This is a good year for that. But actually, it really is a good year for them to do that. And remember that we can all be reaching a breaking point in our lives, but it's going to turn out for the best, even for you, Capricorn, because Venus and Uranus in Taurus are trining your sun right now. And so there is a financial matter or an investment issue or a property matter that, you know, it could work out pretty well for you, Capricorn, particularly if you decided to sell something right now. You might be able to get your price. And I would do that and sort of unload financial obligations that you have right now, Capricorn, because if the market, and Taurus rules the New York Stock Exchange, if the market goes down at all, and costs go up, and taxes always go up, Capricorn, they never go down, then you would be stuck with less income and higher costs, and that is not the way you should go. And so this is a good time to unload if you can. And I would do it as quickly as possible if I were you, Capricorn, so that you might be able to get out from under some extra financial obligations that you have, even if it only involved you paying off a credit card or paying off a loan. That would be a good idea. Or if there was a way you could pay off your mortgage, that would cut your costs quite a bit too. Maybe you've already done that. Capricorns are pretty careful with their money. And so this is simply a time to keep your money a little bit closer to you, Capricorn, and hang on to it. And if you feel you have too many financial obligations out there, or the costs are rising on something, you should try to pull back a little bit if you can. Or sell something. This would actually be a good time for you to sell something, Capricorn, and perhaps get your prize. And I would say you would have to do that rather quickly. But why not? Summer's coming. Maybe you could get a customer for something. So good luck to you. But at the same time, you need to be very careful about people that want to make false starts right now. They could getting their wires crossed with you, because all 4 planets in Aries, including your own ruler, Saturn, are squaring your sun. And so there are other people that want to start new things, and I don't think that they're really qualified for that. And if they're trying to get money out of you to pay for it, you would be throwing good money after bad. Don't do that, Capricorn. Just pull back. Think of how to cut your own costs, and not increase them in any way right now. Try to get more money into your hands if you can. And other people may want to make new starts. There could be a pending partnership that even you've been thinking about. And if I were you, I would put that off. I think that is, pending partnerships are going to end up at a breaking point right now. Because there's so many planets in Aries, and partnership is ruled by Libra. And there's just too many planets in Aries opposing Libra, and then Jupiter in Cancer is also squaring Libra, and your sun, Capricorn. So something that you'd been counting on perhaps is not going to work the way you thought it would. But if I were you, I would keep my hands on my own money right now, or even try to sell something and put it away while you can. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time, Aquarius, when actually Pluto is in your sign, where it's going to stay for about 15 to 17 years, I think. And it is harshly squaring Venus almost exactly in Taurus. Pluto's at 5 degrees in your sign, and Venus is at 3 degrees in Taurus. That's a real trite square. Whenever Venus is squared or opposed by Pluto or Saturn, it is an indication of a betrayal. So then the only question is, are you being betrayed, or is somebody betraying you, Aquarius? It could happen. And because Uranus, your own ruler, is at the 29th degree of fate in Taurus, a fixed financial sign, squaring your sun and squaring that Pluto, which means there's a financial matter that perhaps is not quite working out the way you had hoped, Aquarius. But at the same time, the full moon tomorrow in Libra is trining your sun. There is the possibility that you could pick up a new partner, because Libra rules partnership, or there is the possibility that you could rearrange or rewrite the terms of some sort of contract in order to make it a little bit more beneficial to you right now. There's a possibility, if you're having any kind of financial problems, that maybe you could talk to a creditor and say, hey, I can't pay everything right now. Could we rearrange the terms a little bit? You might be able to succeed at that, Aquarius, and if that would help you out a little bit right now. It isn't the same thing as being debt-free. I don't think you are debt-free. I think there are bills to pay. There always are in everybody's life. And I think that since yours is a fixed sign, it would be better if you, as you're looking toward the future, which is what your sign rules, that you tried to cut your costs as much as possible, or pay your bills off, or make sure that payments schedules are a little bit lower for you right now, so that you don't get caught if the interest rates go up or something like that. So I think if you wanted to rearrange the financial terms on something right now, Aquarius, you might be able to do that. And I do mean just in the next day or two, while the full moon is in Libra trining your sun. So if you have to go talk to a partner or somebody else that you have some sort of a legal contract with in order to rearrange the terms, you ought to do it right away while the moon is trining your sun. That would be good for you. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time, Pisces, when either you can be your own best friend or your own worst enemy. Which is it, Pisces? And the reason why is Mars is still in your sign. Well, Mars isn't happy in your sign. Mars is a planet of aggression and greed and force and envy and jealousy. And, you know, you don't want to go down that path, Pisces. But on the other hand, Mars can also be a planet of tremendous energy. And maybe you are thinking that if you have put a few things off, pardon the sirens, I'm sorry about that. If you have put a few things off and let them dangle for a while, and that you're almost in trouble because of that, maybe you could end some troublesome matter behind the scenes right now, because Jupiter is in Cancer, which is exalted, and it rules, Cancer rules endings, and it's trining your sun, Pisces. It's not going to continue. By the end of June, it won't be trining your sun again for a long time. And so if there are some problems that you have, whether they're financial problems or family problems or real estate problems or just some habit of yours that you just know you cannot keep doing because it's hurting you in one way or another, then you've got to stop. And you've got to use that Martian energy that's in your sign, you know, to make yourself have a lot of firm resolve to do better in one way or another. And so don't go back to the past, Pisces. Try to do your best going forward toward the future. And if that involves having to end something, or if something has just ended in your life, it could work out for the best. But I think it would need your cooperation in that. It might be, since there are so many planets in Aries right ahead of your sun sign, it might be that you can see where you've made a false start on something, and you can also see that that's got to end. And, you know, this is the right time for you to end things that aren't any good for you and sort of swear them off and promise you'll never do them again. And that may take, you know, sort of a stiff backbone. That may take some discipline. But Mars does rule discipline because it rules Scorpio, and Scorpio rules discipline. And if it requires that you be a little bit more patient with people, you could do that too, because Mars, the Mars that rules Scorpio does rule patience as well. And so, Pisces, you could be all revved up and ready to go, but if I were you, I'd slow down a little bit right now, and I would think about where are the false starts in your life, or what have you been putting off, or what have you been doing to hurt yourself a little bit. And this is a time, since all the water signs rule healing, and the exalted Jupiter in Cancer, which does rule endings, is trining your sun. This is a wonderful time for you to get over something, Pisces. Whether you have to be real good and make yourself get over it, or whether you're understanding that something that has been dragging on and on and on is really a false start and isn't getting you anywhere. And no matter if somebody else is having high hopes for something, you have to be honest with yourself, Pisces. And really, you have to ask yourself what's best for you. And that's what you have to go for. That is not being selfish. That's called survival. And if you don't survive, then no one else in your life is going to be too happy with that either, particularly not the people that love you. So you might need to sort of straighten up and fly right now, Pisces, but it could do you a world of good. And if you have pending financial matters or legal matters that have been, you know, sort of avoided by you, this is the time when you need to straighten those out too. And end them. Just end them. In any way you can, end something, Pisces, because your sign rules limitations. And sometimes it's the Pisces that's the greatest limitations because they hold themselves back. Well, don't do that. Not with Jupiter trining your sun. I mean, it's only going to be in Cancer once every 12 years. And right now it's been trining your sun for at least half a year, and it's going to continue for another half a year. So I hope you take advantage of that and do what's good for you, Pisces. And if that means making a move or changing your home in some way, and certainly solving problems that you just can't afford to keep doing, then go ahead and turn over a new leaf, Pisces. You can do it. And the way to do it is to reach a breaking point on what is going wrong and end that. And that leaves you with a lot of time and energy and love to go forward and do things right. And I hope you do that. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. I want to thank you for the new subscribers, and I hope you tell your friends about STARBORN, and I'll see you right back here next week. Bye-bye.